It will not record you. It's just going to record me. And welcome people, humans in the world, to role play. I'm going to mute you, Sharon, because you're feeding back a little bit. Feel free to unmute and ask questions at any time. It's spotlit on me, so it won't record your video, but it would record sound for you. Hey, Maria, nice to see you. Oh, we're getting more people. And we'll start in like 2 minutes. So as you're coming in for a landing, or as I'm coming in for a landing, feel free to come in for a landing in your own body, just tuning into the sensations of being you today in your body without any need to change anything. So because it's such a short class, I'm just gonna bang on through. We got Greece in the house, we got Portugal, we got all over the US and New York City. Nice to see you all. Hey, Marie Christine. Hey, Sharon. So this class is really to tune into the sensations in our body, what it feels like, and to awaken our proprioception, maybe our interoception. And I'm actually going to turn this music off now so that I'm not battling with it. And bringing ourselves online with ourselves. So by that, I mean, just bringing our awareness into physical sensation, bringing our awareness into our bodies. And the idea is that we right now can just land in our bodies and we don't have to change anything. Like, so we're just coming in and receiving ourselves in our body as we are right now without any need to shift, change, or be different. Just to start out. And in that place, focusing on your breath. We'll get moving in a minute. And I want to say that as we move, you can do anything that feels good to you. You can move the way I'm moving. You can move the way you're moving. You don't need to do anything that I do. I'm going to offer a lot of thinking in our body of how we are and a lot of movement possibilities, but you may want to take these from a seated position. You may want to be laying down on the floor. You may even want to stand up. So it's really an opportunity to listen in. Marie Christine is desperately trying to get back in, but it keeps popping her out. I don't know why. Anyway, that's just a little tip to sometimes update your Zoom, because sometimes I know our Zooms can't handle things. Okay, so officially starting for real. Just breathe. Feel what it feels like to be in your body. If you can start to slow down your exhales so that as you exhale, it takes a little bit longer. And I'm going to offer you a sound to do that slowing down with. And the sound, it's called theta breath. It's from, well, I learned it in continuum work. And it's just a soft, so a soft hissing sound, a soft release of air. So tongue just behind your teeth. And by doing that breath, it will slow down your exhale. So your inhale can just be normal, ideally in through your nose. And then as you exhale out through your hissing sound. Yeah, the hissing sound is great. Okay. And you can do this with your eyes open or your eyes closed, whatever feels right to you. You can do it laying down. Bringing your awareness inside. Giving your system a chance to calm and to settle a little bit. And if the breath is stressful in any way, then let it go and just breathe naturally. So the breath is just there to support you. In fact, all of this class is just there to support you. So if anything feels awkward, uncomfortable, don't do it. Really work with yourself and honoring, listening to your own body, giving yourself permission to move, to receive, to be in yourself in whatever way feels really good. So I'm going to add this next idea. And you may do this with the theta breath or without. And that's just the idea of freeing up your spine. So imagining your spine, instead of being a architectural column, think of it like a river. So there's that main bulb of your brain. Maybe that's the mountain where it all starts. And then it's going to trickle down and radiate out, like you have tributaries and deltas coming out through your arms and legs. But thinking of this water spine, river of your spine, finding some fluidity. And with that, you can invite in micro movement. And micro movement is any kind of tiny little movement, little adjustments, little ripples. You could even imagine that your river of your spine is not just a river that has one-dimensional flow, but it's really 2 or 3-dimensional, even maybe 4-dimensional flow. And you could imagine that the micro movement is like little champagne bubbles bubbling up, or little effervescence. So just freeing up the movement of the spine. So first by freeing the idea of what the spine is, and then freeing up its movement. So I'm moving, I'm going to scooch back so you can see my whole body. In my Christmas attire, I got the sweatpants from Anthony and the sweatshirt from one of my friends who used to cut my hair. So coming into this sense of fluidity, and let's add some theta breath with that. You could do this laying down, but imagining that you are just made of water. So your body is a body of water, and that water has complete freedom to move in any way that feels good, to express in any way. Adding the theta breath whenever it feels good. So and tuning into sensation with that. So as you're in those places, what's rippling, what's moving, what's expressing? And I want to also add that you're giving your body a chance to process unprocessed stuff. So just through movement, many things can start to process and shift. So allowing yourself permission to move as big or as small as feels good to you. And I'm seated right now. Eventually I'll get on the floor. So the idea with role play is that we move, we invite in new patterning, novel patterning, to help sort of release some of the old patterning. And this is one of the sort of revelations I had recently. The solution is not in the old pattern. The solution is found in new patterning. So you want to start to just invite in novelty. If it feels familiar and something you're repeating over and over again, start to change it. You can slow it down, you can speed it up, you can add a different body part. So starting to let the whole body get involved in whatever way feels good and interesting. And imagining that you are like a baby who's just arrived in a body and you're just starting to figure out what you can do. Or if you're more advanced movement wise, maybe you're an alien and you're figuring out what this human body can do. So inviting in any kind of movement that feels good. And I'm going to start to take it on the floor. So what the idea with role play for me really was that when we can move around with ease on the floor, relating to gravity, we can find more ease in the rest of our lives. So the invitation is to let the floor massage you. If you're ready to get down, you may be seated, and in this case, you can let the air massage you, let the space around you massage you. So thinking of all the movement potential as being potent space that's supporting you, or it could be potent ground that's supporting you, allowing you to roll, to reach, to come in for a landing, or to grow in whatever direction feels good. So giving yourself full permission to tune into your own sensation and play with what that means. So we've worked a lot with the water element in our body, with this idea that we have this fluid system, this river of our spine, inviting all of the fluid systems. So like the actual fluid systems, which are your blood flow, the flow of your lymphatic, which is a detoxifier of the body, all the sort of interstitial, extracellular matrix, which is kind of like a, well, like a kind of snotty material. Think of it as really hydrated snot in your body. It's supporting your tissue. It's supporting your fascia. And imagining your fascia like this 3D matrix that's holding you all together. And however you move or however you hold tension in your body is going to build the fascia. So the fascia is rooted throughout your whole body. Not rooted, it's sort of foundational. It is what holds you in support, what holds the shape of your body. So the more three-dimensional movement we can add, the more spiraling, the more rolling across the floor, the more we're going to sort of think of that spongy fascia as hydrating and becoming more coherent. And what does the coherency of the body mean? It means that the systems are working together. So we're working to process any old material that's not serving us. It could be emotional material. It could be like injured material. It could be like blockages in your system that are like holding you back. So you're inviting those in a very gentle way to start to release, to start to move. It may take time and you may feel like things come up. So I know I have a few people who watch this in TV land who've told me, oh my God, every time I take your class, I just end up in tears. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to make you cry. But if emotions come up, let them come out. It's fine. You're all muted. Maybe there are things that have been held in. Maybe it's time to start letting them go. So waking up the animal body and processing whatever needs to be processed. And it could also be injuries. It could be like holding patterns in the tissue from things or even repetitive stress injuries. So like from our phones, even from our thumbs, we could soften that tissue and hydrate it, moving in diverse patterning. Yeah, so what our body loves is diverse patterning, diverse environments, and also time, that we're not forcing it into anything, but we're taking our time with it. We're giving our body time as long as it needs. I also want to offer that this could be very delicious to explore from all fours. And all fours is like a pattern that you see as babies develop and they start to get up on all fours. The crawling pattern, contralateral movement, like walking or running, is the most advanced for our human bodies. So when we spend some time doing contralateral cross-body movement, we sort of reset our nervous system. And the invitation right now is for that reset, just through moving, through listening, through awakening, and through participating with our own bodies. What does it feel like to be in this space? I also have had people say, wow, this is like taking drugs without taking drugs. Like, yes, it is. That's why I love it so much. And also why I don't need to take drugs, because I get it in my own system by just moving. Yeah, so if you feel like things are stuck or anything's not helpful, change your perspective. Look somewhere else. We can calm our nervous system just by taking in our environment, by looking around slowly, seeing that we're safe. Oh, okay, I can relax. I can come into myself. I can dial down. Yeah, so this is all like juicy nervous system, happy body, functional, long-term possibilities of movement. And I'm going to add music just for a little while, like maybe 5 minutes. And in my 5 minutes or maybe longer of adding music, I will try not to talk too much. How's that volume wise? Give me a thumb up if it's loud enough. Yeah. So the invitation is for some free flow exploration without my words, with your own feeling. maybe just asking your body this question: what do I need right now to feel supported? What do I need right now to feel good? Maybe sometimes you need to do less. Maybe sometimes you need to do more. Maybe sometimes you need to feel the ground underneath you, to feel your connection to the earth, to feel the support of gravity. Maybe sometimes you need to feel the lightness of your breath, the ease of your breath, the support of that oxygen coming in. Maybe sometimes you need to feel like the fire of your spirit, or the fire, the heat of desire. Could be desire for anything. Could even just be passion for what you do, or any kind of endeavor, or your family, or anything like that. But feeling also that the warmth of the fire element of spirit. Do you have that fire element playing out in your life? Maybe sometimes also the fire element is just burning away some of the stuff that you don't need, clearing out the space. Yeah, and also don't feel like you're restricted to just being on the floor. If you need to get up and move more, you can always do that. And if you feel like you really want to have more of a worky outy type class, you can get up and down, shift around, because ultimately what this whole class is about is finding easier ways of being in your body, easier ways of moving, and finding the support that you need to be able to move easily through your life. Maybe it's a dance, or maybe it's more like exercisey, like, oh, I need to feel the strength of my body, or the fluidity. Or I need to feel connected to other people. Here we all are. Picture on, picture off. We're still in a room. We're still in a mind space together. We're still in an energy field. So there's some really magical tissue I want to say tissue hacks, and one is spiraling. Thinking of a whirlpool even, or DNA spiral, letting yourself find spirals as support. Spirals to get away from the linear thinking or linear moving. Think of three-dimensional support through spiraling, and it could be any kind of spiraling. Lemniscatic movement. Allowing yourself to play with different body parts, maybe the whole thing moving, maybe just some small gestural movement, or even just movement of your face. Releasing the holding pattern of being you as is into infinite possibility. Non-judgmental, alive existence. And allowing yourself to really relax into the fact that there's no right or wrong here. It's really just what feels good to you. And if things come up, are you willing to let them go? Are you ready to let them go? Is it wise to let them go? Is it wise to find freedom or mobility? Sometimes we need a certain amount of stability. So letting yourself play, dancing between mobility and stability in ways that feel skillful for your life. And if it starts to feel too weird and out there, go to some really familiar patterning. Do a cat-cow, sit still, look around the room, anything that feels comfortable, comforting. So you don't want to like knock yourself into some outer layer of that stratosphere into weirdness, unless of course you want to do that. But if you don't want to do that, always feel free to come back to really familiar movement. Anything that's like, oh, I could just walk around. I'm just me being myself in the room, or not. I'm going to change the music. I'm going to give us something a little bit different than this. So this can take us into one sort of long, slowly turning it down and giving us, where is it? I have to have a little search. I guess we could do this. Something totally different. It's going to knock us into another stratosphere entirely. She says totally different, and then it sounds kind of the same. It'll be different. So the last one was Jeff Gersh, Ambient Fields. This one's Tonus Maximus. This is That Sunny Day. Allowing your imagination to take you somewhere else, if that feels interesting and fun.
What sunny day, gentle lies before you winter way. Your sweetest smile stay a while, but you've gone away. Oh, I miss you, dear, though you're still here in my reverie. But it can never be, we shall never meet, our love passed away.
And that comes to a close, whatever that was. I just want to invite in a few more things before we finish it off. And really it's to come to the awareness of the very periphery of our body. So like the tips of our head, the top of our head, the tips of our head if we're a multiple pronged head sprocketed item, human. But the tips of our fingers, our toes, just inviting in like some fingers and toes movement. Coming to the edge, to the very periphery of your realm of movement, your kinesphere. So maybe reaching out or reaching in. If you think about like, is it sea anemone that you see? They're underwater and they're really fluid, and then you touch them and they like kind of pull in. So thinking of this idea of kind of growing and shrinking, radiating outward and inward, that comes from the center and reaches out to the very tips and edges and then comes back in. So this is sort of, we've gone a bit in reverse with the developmental patterns, the baby patterns, but this is one of the first baby patterns, is going out away from center and then coming back in. Radiating outward, bringing it in, but coming to this awareness of the head to tail and the fingertips, toes into center. And if it's interesting, finding a pattern of breath that moves with that, radiating outward and coming back in, so that we have an underlying sense of breath support for all of our movement. There's some kind of rhythm that feels good and natural. In Laban, we talk about growing and shrinking with the breath. So we're breathing on a cellular level, radiating outward, coming back in, or it can be very small, just growing and shrinking with the breath. And if you take away one thing from today, that idea of growing and shrinking with the breath and like playing with that during your week could be the most life-changing. Could be, maybe not. The other thing I want to say, because I know I have a lot of people that are sort of new to my space right now, this class is super, super free flow. The somatic mat class is much more like a mixture of yoga, dancer stretch, Pilates, with a little bit of free flow. It's much more of a structured class. It's much more of a workout style class. But I feel like for me and what my body needs more than anything else is to relate to the floor, to relate to gravity, and to be able to start having more, or having an intelligent relationship with going down and coming up. And I think as we age, that's super important. And I see it sometimes in my mat classes where people, they can do the exercise great, but then they have to roll over and change position, and it's a struggle. So this is about all that transitional time, finding the space so it isn't a struggle. Finding the relationship to the floor. So it's not scary to get down there. Although sometimes it's scary if you see a lot of dust balls and spiders that you haven't seen before because you're down on the floor for the first time. But yeah, finding ways of going up and coming down. Healthy movement. And developing your own intelligence. So it's not just, oh, they told me to do this, and then I need to do this, and then I do this. But it's like, oh no, I can feel inside. I need to do some of this. I need to do some of this. I need to do some of this, whatever it is. So let's, as we're coming towards the end again, let's bring back that theta breath with movement, if it feels good. You don't have to do it, but if it feels good and interesting, add this. Taking resting breaths whenever necessary, but offering that long extended exhale. Sometimes people talk about the theta breath as creating the central midline that's like bifurcating, moving out. So playing with that idea. Could be in stillness, could be in motion, really depending on what you need in your body. I want to say, as I lay down here on the floor, kind of rolling from side to side, and I think, Laura, you'll relate to this. It's like being at the edge of the ocean and a wave is just sloshing across. So yeah, that's one of the most delicious feelings, is laying there, not in a violent wavy edge of the ocean, but where the waves can just slosh across you, somewhere really warm and nice. And your body can completely relax and just move with that. So this is also a baby pattern from one side to the other, rolling, also known as homolateral movement. And this particular rolling pattern is what I do when my shoulders or my lower back hurts me, just taking time to spread across the floor like butter. This is the bagel schmear, spreading across the floor, across your bagel as a schmear of butter or cream cheese. Bagel schmear. Taking as long as you need, relaxing into the floor, relaxing into gravity, melting. So as I do this, it's a huge release in my upper back and shoulders, huge release as I roll across my lower back. Letting go of that 10 of Wands, of all the stuff I'm carrying for everybody else. Virginia, that's for you. Letting go of the backpack of other people's stuff and my own stuff. And just yielding into the floor, giving it in, letting the earth take away the tension, letting the ground, the gravitational pull of the earth, just recycle whatever tension I'm releasing. You could also light a candle, let it, whatever you need to burn off, light a candle and let it burn off. But in this case, just moving into the ground, massaging and releasing. And the one more thing to say about this is if you're in a lot of pain, you could do this on a bed or on a really cushy surface. But if you're not in that much pain, the harder the surface, hard surface, slow movement is going to really help massage out the fascia, the holding pattern of your body. So the muscles are, fascia is holding the shape of the muscle. The actual muscle fibers are very soft and fluid. Just inviting in any kind of extra releasing that would be helpful. And maybe coming back to the hand on the belly and the hand on the chest, feeling into yourself, feeling into the system of you. Just offering a little bit of gratitude for spending time with yourself today. And I'm offering you gratitude for spending time with me today. And I have to say, like, every day is a good day to be in your body, and every day is a different day in your body. So finding maybe some micro movement with that, a little fluidity, a little bit of ease if possible. And if you feel like there are stuck parts that are just holding on so tight, they're not ready to let go, and just be like, okay, that's what that is. I'm going to hold that a little bit longer, because sometimes we have to. Sometimes it's like that. It takes time to let go of things. It takes time to shift. So if we can accept the as is, the what is, then that can be helpful. So I am now getting into just some self-touch, touching my arms up to my shoulder and neck. It always feels really good for me to put my hands on my neck and just feel into that sort of central channel of being. Thing that holds my head onto my body, my neck. Oh, all the stuff that goes through there. And then letting us come back in. So everyone in TV land, thank you for showing up. Please like and subscribe. There's my sales pitch, and I'm going to stop recording.